Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and blimey biscuits have I been waiting for this video. Yes, it's time to put Xenoblade Chronicles X to the test and see how it stands up in a cold, calculated, and most importantly, subjective manner. But enough prattle, you're not here for useless gum flapping, you're here for a review, so let's get started. Xenoblade Chronicles X has long been bigged up as having a world 5 times the size of its predecessor, and whilst many times these claims can be a little bit exaggerated, in this case it feels entirely accurate. But don't go thinking that this comparison means it's the same game as before. Ho ho! Crumbs no. The story takes place on Mira, a strange alien planet on which the last known surviving members of the human race have crash-landed. The first thing you do after the excellent expositional cutscene is create your character. The character creation tool is fairly in-depth and flexible, but don't go in expecting to make any Nigel Thornberry characters anytime soon. Shortly afterwards, you're discovered by Elmer, a silvery-haired warrior with a serious military demeanor, and after a short tutorial, you're shown the gargantuan landscape of the planet you'll now be calling home. The size of Mira is simply staggering, and you're completely unshackled from the moment you finish the tutorial. Want to go to the highest point of the first area? You can do that. Want to tackle the biggest foe you can find even though it'll kill you in one hit? Do it! Fancy running to literally the opposite end of the map that appears disconnected from the mainland? No chuffing problem. Just be prepared for an awful lot of swimming. The entire world is completely seamless. The only loading screens you'll see are for entering and exiting structures, and even then that's only some of them. Simply put, Mira is what every single open world should be. The plotline progresses through story missions, which can only be accepted once certain criteria are filled. These include some of the smaller subquests, or being a certain level or having certain party members present. Of course, if you want to establish more of a backstory for Mira and its inhabitants, you can always indulge in a few affinity quests. These strengthen the relationship you have with your party members and also provide substantial rewards upon completion. But missions, or quests, or whatever you want to call them, are only a small fraction of what you'll be experiencing. Half the joy in this game comes from the magnitude and splendor of exploring this new world that you've landed on, and the key message in all of this is freedom. Yes, the main plotline usually demands decisive action and we have to do this before it's too late, but in reality plowing through the storyline as quickly as possible isn't what this game is all about. Story quests and affinity quests will sometimes put you on slightly irritating linear tracks that you can't escape until the quest is completed, and this is doubly irritating if your task is difficult or obtuse, such as finding a rare item. Thankfully, these are few and far between, and largely running around aimlessly is not only cathartic, but actually rewarding in-game. You will often find new information by discovering new places, or even unlocking new quests by overhearing conversations in New LA, the human settlement. This gives Mira the feeling of a truly organic, living environment with a ludicrous level of depth and lore to it. Another important gameplay element is planting probes. These help you understand the environment, gain resources, and provide fast travel locations using the map on the gamepad. And whilst we're on the subject, this is one of the few games on the Wii U where the gamepad is pretty much essential but not actually mandatory for most of the gameplay. You can still happily play on your Wii U Pro controller, but you'll need the gamepad nearby to access fast travel, better see your objective, and most importantly, see where you are. You can also use the gamepad to play using off-TV play. Losing the map screen is often crippling, but it's nice to have it as an option for lighter gameplay sessions. Of course, you'll not just be running around looking at the scenery pretty as it is, no, you'll have to get in a few scrapes now and again. By scrapes, I mean combat, and by now and again, I mean as often as you can if you want to level up. During combat, you have 2 weapons at your disposal, a gun of some description and a melee weapon. You can switch between these on the fly, and each weapon comes with its own special abilities known as arts. These can be activated to inflict extra damage, debilitate an enemy, or buff you and or your party members. Many arts also have a method of inflicting additional damage or effects if certain criteria are fulfilled. Understanding these is necessary to getting through the tougher enemies, so make sure you make a note of them. There's also a certain level of grinding necessary to progress a lot of the time, but thankfully this is largely kept to a minimum. Your arts aren't decided by your weapons, by the way, quite the opposite. Sort of. Basically, you can choose from several different classes that provide different weaponry and arts, and you can even switch between them whenever you want, as long as you're not in a battle. Or a cutscene. This is a really great way of increasing the overall content in the game without having to go back and create a new save file, and that's a feature that runs throughout the entire game. Whenever any apparently big decision arises, you're never tied down to it, meaning that you'll never feel like you're missing out or you have to wait through the game again for another 50 hours just to experience a different path. But thankfully there is something big in this game besides the overall scale of it, and that's the skells. These mech suits are your express ticket to getting around Mira in a timely fashion and allows you to take on much larger beasts than you ever could in your puny human form. You'll be about 15 to 20 hours into the game before you can even pilot one of these things, and the anticipation for that majority of a day and night is palpable. There's something magically sublime about controlling one of these things after running around on foot for so long, so we'll just say no more about them and let you experience it all for yourself. Something you shouldn't discount from the whole game experience is the online functionality. If you want to, and you should, you can play the whole game synced in with other players from around the world. They won't appear in-game like an MMO, but their achievements and hard work will couple with yours to help you acquire resources. You can also team up with friends to tackle special squad missions and hopefully prove that you truly are the coolest cat online. It's a shame that there isn't more to do online, but there's still plenty to keep you satisfied offline. I feel as though in this review I've barely scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a phenomenal, seamless blend of open-world exploration, combat, micromanagement, and so many other elements all wrapped up in a deep, engaging storyline that demands attention. You'll find yourself not only lost deep in the world of Mira, but caring about your party members and the indigenous creatures that live there. The Tolkien-esque level of lore provides an open-world experience grossly engaging and believable. The combat is tactical and engrossing, and the online functionality makes you feel part of something greater. Marred only by a handful of quirks and kinks, we are proud to give Xenoblade Chronicles X a 9 out of 10, as well as my own personal Insomnia of the Year award. If you want to see more of what this game has to offer, click that card at the top of the screen or the link in the description to be taken to a playlist showing a mere fraction of what you can do in this amazing title. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you poke that subscribe button in the belly? It's put on a fair bit of weight recently, but don't tell it I said that. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye.